So, welcome back to KB Spot. I am sitting here with entrepreneur Cerrone Smith, man that wears many, many, many hats. I wanted to talk to him because he has such a colorful story, and I wanted people to get to know him that didn't. And I wanted to introduce him to my audience. So, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I just want to jump right in. So I know you as author, publisher. How did you start down the literary path first?
Well, I wrote my first book, which is Prodigal Son. It's not the first book I put out, but it's the first book I wrote. I wrote that when I was like 18 or 19.
Oh.
And I wrote that because I had like a wild teenage years and all of that. And I just need to get some stuff out of my head and off my mind. So I wrote that, and I was trying to figure out the best way to go about getting it out as far as publishing, whether I should try to get a book deal, self-publish or whatever. I started doing research back then. This is over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do anything with it because I met with some discouragement by some people close to me. And I just lived life. And then I had a personal situation well over 10 years later. And then that's when I decided to do some more research about what I should do about it now. Because I'm like, now I'm going to get into it. Now I'm really going to do it for real. And that's when I wrote Illegal Life, a North Philly story, which is the first book I actually put out. That's the first book, I published. And that's when I was like, I'm definitely going to start a publishing company. I'm going to do it on my own.
Nice. And so when you started with, the publishing company, did you find it hard to kind of find your, I don't want to say niche, because I think you're categorized as street lit urban fiction, right? And was it hard to decide if that's what you wanted to stay with when you were publishing? Like if you were taking on new artists and when you were putting out your own work, was that the category that you wanted to be known as, kind of a street lit publisher?
It was the path because of, as far as books, what I was coming from and what I wanted to educate people about. So I wanted to, the tagline is the ultimate urban literature. It's different. It's not somebody has 100,000 bricks, they go to the feds, they come out, they're kingpin. Like, it's not that story.
Yeah.
They're the stories that tell you what typically happens. Stories that more people can relate to. Most people can't relate to that story. I mean, there were kingpins in most hoods, especially in the 80s, the crack era, the 90s, that, but most people can't personally relate to living that lifestyle where a lot of people hustle.
Yeah.
A lot of people got locked up. A lot of people got killed. A lot of people know people that got killed.
Yeah.
People can relate to that. It's not a happy ending. So for people that can either relate to that or younger people coming up and trying to decide what they should do because they're struggling with it, because at the end of the day, for my situation, what I went through as a teenager, as an adult, it's not the move. So as a Black man who has a son and doesn't want to see other people who have kids go through mass incarceration and all of that, we have to educate, and educate is the best way to educate is through entertainment. Like ARS One says, entertainment. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I decided to do it through books.
Is that how you also came to create your, I think it's a nonprofit or volunteer organization that you have?
Are you talking about the
this? I think it's a youth program.
Oh, I don't actually have a youth program. I just
what is it?
Do stuff.
Okay. You should.
So I work with people. I work with people that, some of my associates have nonprofits.
Okay.
Things like that. The guy that I did Hood Politics with, a guy that we work with, that we just had the Hood Politics 2 book release party at. He has a nonprofit.
Okay.
That might be why you thought that, because where we had the place.
Yeah.
The guy that owns the place, he has a New Beginnings Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has a New Beginnings Foundation. So that's a nonprofit. He does coat drives and food drives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've, spoken at after school programs. It's more like, it's more impromptu.
But you do some mentorship with the youth though. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine though, in 2021, being a teenager, being a young Black teenager, being a young Black male teenager is tough. Like, I don't think that we had a different, like growing up in the 90s and the late 80s, it didn't seem as, I know we have social media to grapple with, but it just didn't seem that we were so overwhelmed with thinking about what other people thought about us and whether or not I could walk outside and not make it home, And so I don't know how how parents and how the teenagers today really deal with the society that we live in now. Like how do you have that talk with your son that, if you get stopped by the police, if you are introduced to drugs and alcohol, and if you're put in situations where you may not make it home, like what's that conversation like?
It's a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations. And a lot of times the funny part is I follow, and I don't spend a lot of time on social media. As far as scrolling, I have to do better about the interactions, you know what I mean?
Engaging, yeah.
Yeah, engaging other than posting. I have to do better about that. But when I do, based on who I follow, I follow people that I have mutual interest with, you know what I mean? I'm not really about celebrity.
Yeah.
So I follow a lot of people that promote, certain things like community building and things like that. So I will say, because young people are very interested in social media, I have a folder that I save stuff in when I see it that I think it would be educational for my son, because it's on social media.
Yeah.
So I have a folder because I have 50/50 custody of them. I have them every other week. So when I see it, if I see it, I'll save it for later, and then I show him these videos.
And it's a conversation starter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially because he lives in a different state. So when I go get him, we're driving back. It's about an hour. So I'm like, hey, I pass him the phone. I have it on the Bluetooth. And then I'm like, what do you think about? So I have him go through each one. What do you think about that? We talk about it. It'll be about a different range of subjects. Whether he's 13 now, so it's like whether it be about the police, about all different types of things.
Yeah, it's something about those car conversations. Because my son, he's 23 now. He's my big baby, but it's something about those car conversations, because we had the most intense conversations on the way to school and on the way home from school. Like we would have, that's the sex talk that no boy wants to have with his mom, but I'm that mom. I'm still going to tell you about it. Talking about girls, and if they say no, that's a no, back away.
Right.
I know you're going to be around your friends and y'all might drink something, but let's try to hold off on it. Just different conversations like that, and just being honest with him. My girlfriends always said I probably was a little bit too honest, because we talked about sex, we talked about diseases, we talked about pregnancy, drugs, we talked about everything, and everyone's like, oh, well, you're his mom, you shouldn't talk about that stuff. Yeah, but I'm his parent, so I'm going to talk about it too. We don't live in Mayberry, so we got to talk about this stuff.
Somebody's going to talk to him about it, especially his peers are going to talk. The peers are going to talk to him about it. The peers probably don't know what they're talking about.
Misinformation.
I remember when we were that age, the type of crazy stuff that our friends talk to us about, and you heard this, and this is what this does, and that, and they don't.
Yeah, I remember he came to me. He says his friends were talking about something, Nstd, and they were like, oh, only girls get this. And he's like, Mom, do you know what this is? And I'll tell you what he said after this interview. I'm not going to say it here. But he was like, do you know what this is? And I was like, yeah, how do you know what it is? And he was like, oh, well, I know only girls can get it. And because my friend told me, and I was like, oh, he was like 12 or 13 at this time. I was like, oh, well, your friend's an idiot. And who was it?
Right.
I don't even put it on speakerphones. Let's talk about it. And so he was so embarrassed, but I was like, no, call him. And so, he called him and we talked about it. And I said, make sure you tell your parents that Miss Black, had this conversation with you. And his parents were like, cool. They knew that I was going to be the one that always kind of tell kids, okay, well, no, you're stupid. That is not what that is. Let's talk about it. Like I was the auntie that's handing out condoms after football games because I know y'all are going to go do something. I don't want you to.
Right.
But boy,
right.
take this 3-pack and I'll see you at midnight. But, yeah, that's a whole other conversation. Like inside, I'm cringing. So I'm cringing on the inside because I'm thinking, oh my God, my baby's going to want to kiss girls. He's going to want to start talking about sex. But on the outside, I was like, what's up? Like the first time, he kissed a girl, he's like, Mom, I kissed a girl. I was like dying on the inside a little bit. But on the outside, I was like, really? I was like, well, she said it was okay. He said, yeah. I said, well, did she like it? I think so. She told me I could do it again. I was like, and then I gave him a pound and I was like, good boy, all right. But on the inside, I was like, oh God, I'm not ready. I'm not ready at all. Let me call this uncle. Oh, yeah. So those are something else. Like I was not ready, but yeah, it's good stuff. And, I think that like when I was reading your bio and with your history, what I kept thinking was, what are some of the like pitfalls that you could give young Black men, young entrepreneurs, young writers to kind of stay away from so that they don't veer off on the wrong path?
I would say stay away from the the fast money, whatever it is, like, because now it's different. I mean, depending where you're from and what your interests are, there are the same old hustles are still out there, but there are new ones now. People getting swindled by people telling them they can make fast money with Bitcoin and this, that, and third. There are legitimate ways to make money with certain things, but the bottom line is if you're trying to make a quick flip, that's usually should be the red flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of these things are either gonna get your money lost or they're gonna get you locked up, whatever it is. Like whatever it is, whether it's in what should be a legitimate business and could be done in a legitimate way, or whether it's some street stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say. Try taking shortcuts in life.
Yeah.
Like there are no it's very rarely a legitimate shortcut that's going to serve you in the long run.
Yeah.
Like you can be smart and work smart and be efficient, but always trying to
take those shortcuts. Somebody,
and it's not the most. Like do the research, do the work, be willing to do what you need to do in order to get the desired result.
Yeah.
Stay away from the streets for real. Like that's the whole point of most of the material I put out, or have put out as far as books. Don't and when people also, as far as writers and publishers and all of that, own your own stuff. Own your own stuff. Also, do not fall for people that guarantee they can get you this. Yes. Like if they guarantee they will get you to this list, the top of this list, or they'll get you this amount of sales, or they'll get you that. It's the same principle as anything else.
Yeah.
Is it a get rich quick scheme to get number one?
Yeah.
Scheme. It's all of this stuff takes work.
Yeah. Is it more important for you to put out good literature or to be like on one of those bestseller lists or what have you?
I personally believe it's more important to put out quality literature. you know, because once you can get to, depending where you are, on Amazon, there's
Yeah.
technique, because now the stuff is algorithms. You
Yes.
know, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's ways to get there. But I believe, but then we go back to organic,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So if you have quality literature and people are purchasing and reading your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then the age old word of mouth will
Yeah.
apply,
Yeah.
especially if you couple that with your hard work in your market, your smart hard work in your
Yeah.
marketing and your
Yeah.
consistency. And then you'll be able to get the job done if you have good work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you don't have good work and people read your stuff, it doesn't really matter how much you try to mess with the algorithm. Once people read
Mm-hmm.
your stuff,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
gonna
yeah, good work speaks for itself.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. So outside of the literature, what else do you have going on?
So with the books, I actually have a mentorship program for people that want to start their own publishing company. It's called Do It
Uh,
Yourself. Um, so as far as paper chase, but you mean outside of paper chase publications?
Well, tell me about the business that you have for people who want to start their own publishing service. Like, how does that work? What do you? Is a course or a
So
class that they take, or mentorship, or
it's a mentorship program.
okay?
So it's either in person or Zoom.
Hmm.
It's weekly sessions. It's typically 90 days. That's the
Okay.
plan, is for it to be 90 days. So it sometimes it's faster. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer
Yeah.
depending on the person and depending on the project. But it's set to be 90 days. And basically, it takes them from manuscript to published title. And
Wow.
included in that is LLC creation and everything, all the steps they need to do to get their book out and sell their book, website, and all of that. You know,
Oh
now
wow.
there's other things. Yeah, there's other things that they're going to have to, you know, do along the way that I
Hmm.
assist them with as far as
Yeah.
getting these things done. But I assist them with that as a mentorship program to help them get
Okay.
it done.
Okay. I need some
So I
information
have
on
some. I
that.
have,
I
okay,
definitely
I
need
can
some
help you with
information on that. Yeah. Wow. And so you're in Philly. Yeah, I'm going to be there hopefully in December.
that.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So a friend of mine, friend, client, kind of, um, is having a film. Just they just finished wrap shooting on a film, and I've never been to Philly, so I was like, oh, I'm going to come. I'm going to harass you too when I come. Just now, you're on my
Please
list.
do.
You're on my list.
That's
I'm going to
what's up.
harass you too. Have you ever thought about going into TV and film, like putting Prodigal Son and Illegal Activity? Is that the second title?
Illegal Life, a North Philly story.
Like, oh, it's a beautiful
And then
cover
there's
too.
a,
Illegal Lives.
thank you. There's a
Yeah.
sequel, Illegal Life too. But actually, the ones that were, so this book, Hood Politics, the one that we just had the sequel party to,
Mm-hmm.
Hood Politics started off as a screenplay. So yeah, we're actually about to get back. We had done a casting call last year,
Mm-hmm.
Corona, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Uh, so we kind of got, you know,
Sidetracked a little bit
we
with
had to
that.
postpone some things. But we're
Yeah.
about to get back into casting calls again to get the rest of the cast and
Very nice.
something with that and then so it's going to be a trilogy as far as the books. I mean, we have two out now, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
also going to be a three-part movie series. So
Nice. Okay. Well, well, well.
the,
The man
the,
who wears many hats. I love it.
thank you. The plan is to do um, audiobooks. I'm working on a audiobook. Well, we're working on an audiobook of
Mm-hmm.
Serene as we speak. My son actually did. So I'm having different voice actors for every character. So
That's
instead of just
ambitious
having,
and I love it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So thank you. My son actually did uh, some of the voices for some of the younger people in that. there's different people on here. So far, we're
Yeah.
still in production of that.
Yeah. I love that you have your son involved in the process.
Thank you.
Yeah. Showing him something different. I love, love, love that. When we bring him into the fold, and yeah, I love that. Okay, well, I'm definitely excited about that. Keep me in the loop. I need to walk that red carpet too. We'll be ready for that.
Of course.
Yeah. 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 Um, so kind of my last question, because I said this wasn't so much about literature. I kind of wanted to get into you as an entrepreneur. What do you outside of the books, outside of the films, what's next? Like, where do you see yourself going?
Well, as far as I have Paper Chase Publications, so I'm doing that. That's the major plan. The major plan for Paper Chase Publications is books, audio books, and films, right? And soundtracks, because there's a soundtrack inside of this book. It's like a QR code on the back page.
Wow.
Because he's an artist as well, so
okay.
he has an independent record label. But outside of that, I do have another company that I started last year, Cerrone Investments. So that's involves real estate,
nice
funding. Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Credit repair. So we in asset recovery. So as far as like tax overages, unclaimed funds, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to it's basically wealth building tools for
financial literacy.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, financial literacy. Yeah, I was talking to my mom a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying, I really don't regret anything the way we grew up, because we grew up in a very small town. Like, we got a caution light, and that was big news, right? Like, you may see one of my cousins riding their lawnmower to the post office, or their horse, to this day. So very small town. Yeah. And I said, I love growing up in the small town, and, I moved to the city as an adult, but I wish I had have had financial literacy, like, drilled into my head, those concepts like savings accounts, how to write a check, how to pay bills, what's the importance of paying those on time, the importance of maybe acquiring real estate and having some assets like that in your name. And we didn't have that growing up because, we were just trying to breathe, just trying to survive. Right. And so you don't think about that kind of stuff, especially back then. Now, things are so much different. They're starting even younger, building their own businesses and trying to purchase real estate and apps and technology and stocks and all these kind of things. So I love the fact that you are into that industry and sharing it with your community. I think that's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love that. Do you feel like you're sitting in your purpose? Like you're actively sitting in your purpose? Yeah.
I do. Thank you. And it's different because I used to, years ago, before I started Paper Chase Publications, I worked in life insurance. I did mortgages before the bubble burst in 08 and all of that. But it was just different. Like what I was doing, like this is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was working corporate and doing it for other people, they telling you what to do and how to do it, and then their rules of how, and then you see the shady stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's just different. Now I feel like I am.
Good. I love it. Well, yeah. I try to end the interviews with that question because someone asked me, and I said this in another interview, that someone asked me that last year. And my question, and they asked me that question, and my answer was like, no, I'm not. But I was sitting in other people's purposes, like helping them with theirs, helping them to realize what they were doing and pouring into everybody else and not myself. And so when they asked me that question, it kind of knocked me on my butt a little bit, I was like, no, I'm not. And so then I started my own business. Went into business for myself. Yeah. instead of just trying to uplift everyone else, I was like, I still do that. It's just as who I am. But I wasn't doing anything for me. So now I try to make sure I ask people that question too. So, okay, well, that is all I have today. I want to thank you again for taking time out to speak with me. I appreciate you. I definitely want some information on your financial literacy, your wealth business, and also information on the 90-day publishing mentorship. Get some information on that from you too. So, all right. Thank you guys for staying tuned. That is it for KayBee Spot today. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.